Welcome back to Accessible Gourmet. Today we're making slow roasted salmon over bok choy, edamame, and carrots. To start this dish, I have two 8-ounce pieces of wild salmon that I've rinsed under cold water, and we're just giving this a little try. We want to remove the skin because we're not pan frying it, we're baking it, so that skin's not going to get crispy. If you watched my fish taco video, you know how to remove the skin now. If not, we're going to go through the skin. We're just going to loosen a corner of the skin, get our knife in at an angle, and start wiggling the skin back and forth. Try not to move the knife because the skin will do all the work for you as you wiggle it. This should remove it pretty cleanly. I did leave a little chunk of flesh on there, so I definitely need more practice. I am preheating the oven to 300 degrees. And we're going to place our fish on a parchment-lined baking sheet. We're going to drizzle a tablespoon of sesame oil. And then we're just doing a very simple seasoning of salt and pepper. We're going to bake this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes depending on the thickness of your fish, but definitely keep an eye on it because this can overcook very quickly. Now I have 6 cloves of garlic here that I'm just giving choppity chop up. And I need 2 teaspoons for my glaze and 2 teaspoons for the vegetables. I just decided to mince this all at once just to make my life easier. Then just eyeballing this, I'm separating this into 2 piles, and we're just going to set this aside until we're ready to use it. We also are going to do the same with our ginger. I have a 1.5 inch piece here that I'm just grating or microplane because we need about 1 teaspoon for our glaze and 1 teaspoon for our vegetables. So I'm just separating this as well once it's nicely grated up and just placing these in the bowls. Next up, I have 3 rainbow carrots here. If you have plain, just regular carrots, that's fine. I just really love the color of these rainbow carrots. It's always a surprise. We're just going to chop these up into a thin julienne. And we're also going to put these in a bowl and set them aside until we're ready to saute them. The color of these always makes me so happy when I look at it. It's just vibrant and appetizing. So these are nicely julienned up, putting these in a bowl. Next up, I have 3 heads of baby bok choy. I'm just cutting off that end, and we're going to chop these into quarters, or you can keep them in halves. It's completely up to you. Bok choy can be gritty and sandy, so we're definitely going to give these a good rinse. Now moving on to our glaze, I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of rice wine, 1 tablespoon of ponzu. Sorry, my camera's going out of focus there. We're also going to add in our chopped ginger and our chopped garlic, and we're going to stir this and let this simmer for about a minute. Then we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and continually stir this until it thickens up. I have a small confession. I think I added too much cornstarch because as I was stirring this, I'm sorry, I'm getting flustered even now, it got consistently more unappetizing. So this was a complete fail. And I decided to discard this and move on to our vegetables. So I have 1 tablespoon of sesame oil that I'm adding into our saucepan along with our ginger and our garlic. We're going to saute this for 30 seconds just until we can smell that, adding a little freshly ground black pepper and some salt as well. Just until that ginger and garlic starts to become fragrant. Then we can add in our carrots. We're going to cook this for about 4 minutes, just until those carrots start to become tender. After 4 minutes, we're going to season with a little bit more salt. And add in our freshly rinsed bok choy. We're going to cook this for an additional 3 minutes just until that bok choy starts to wilt. And last but not least, I have a cup of frozen edamame that I'm just adding into our pan, and we're just going to cook this just until that's heated through. Because the edamame is already cooked, they flash freeze it. Now let's go on to our alternative dressing or glaze. I've made this before. It's just 2 parts honey, 1 part sriracha. Giving this a little mix. And then I wanted to pull in that ponzu flavor again, so I'm just adding a 1/2 teaspoon and mixing this up really nicely. Giving this a taste, and this is perfect. Now on to plating. First, we're going to lay down our vegetables. Drizzle it with a little of our honey sriracha ponzu. Lay down a piece of our salmon. Full disclosure, that salmon is overcooked. I lost track of it, and unfortunately it overcooked the salmon slightly. Okay, let's give this a taste. The honey sriracha glaze adds a really nice vibrant flavor to this. A little sweetness, a little heat, and the ponzu adds a citrus kick. You can see here the salmon is slightly overcooked, which breaks my heart, so next time I will definitely keep an eye on it. The bok choy is tender and just cooked. It still has a little crunch to it. So the veg adds just this bright, fresh, clean note. We're trying to eat a little healthier in this house, so there it is, my slow roasted salmon over bok choy, edamame, and carrots. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, subscribe and click the notification bell because I put out new videos every Thursday. Until next time, happy cooking.